The following is a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio. Keep your mission on your mind and your mind on your mission. This is Mission Minded with Michael Coleman.
Welcome back to Mission Minded. Keep your mind your mission your mind. Michael Coleman. He is the CEO of the Heart of Alabama Food Bank. I'm Tony Curry. Been doing that radio thing for 4 decades. By the way, it is no secret. We're going to be kicking off Mission Minded in a new format that we're really excited about. The thousands of folks we have listening every single week. We're going to be joining the staff at 101.1 The Truth, which is Christian radio, coming up in sometime 2026. We're really excited about not only taking the show on a different platform from a terrestrial standpoint, but it covers 4 states. And so we're going to be talking about business. We're going to keep the business model, but we're also going to be talking it from a Christian standpoint, which will be a lot of fun. So I'm really looking forward to it, my partner. And it's neat how I didn't know when you and I started the show 3-4 years ago, I wasn't sure how we get. I know it was kind of your idea. Hey, I would do this business show, blah blah blah. Next thing you know, and to see it grow and into fruition into something that we can take it to another level is a lot of fun.
It really is.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. Info at TonyCurryRadio.net. Info at TonyCurryRadio.net. We got some email questions that I want to get into and just some regular topical business stuff I want to throw at you real quick. We have Verna in Birmingham wants to please ask Michael Coleman what I should do with my pennies. Obviously we're not doing the pennies now. If you've gone to stores and even banks, they round it out now. I don't know if you know that. I went to Best Buy yesterday, and they do not give out pennies anymore. Pennies are not being given out anywhere anymore. They are rounding it up. I'm not sure how that works for a lot of people. So if you're at 3 cents, it's 5 or down to 1, I guess. So you're getting screwed 2 cents, or you're gaining 2 cents one way or another. But now we have all these pennies because it was costing us, 3.4 cents per penny to make 1 penny, which is worth 1 penny, which doesn't make any sense at all. It won't be long before we no longer have, and then I'm sure the nickel will be next. But yeah, what should we do with our pennies?
Well, I used to have a huge penny collection too, like a lot of people. Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. So if you're one of those that's got that, I don't know if the banks will still take it, but if it will, I would advise cashing out. Now, I know banks, way back when I was a kid, you could take a bag of pennies up and they would roll them for you and all that. You can't do that. But what you can do is there are money machines, coin machines in Walmart and things like that.
Publix has got one. Yeah, they get you 11% though. That's the only thing. It costs you 11% now.
Well, what the one at Walmart now, of course, it's been a couple of years since I've done it. And the reason I happen to know about this is Baptist South Hospital has a fountain every year, and every year they empty the fountain and they scrape up all the coins.
Yeah,
they're moldy and everything. There's about $400 worth of. But what we have to do is clean them, and then we take them and dump them. So what you can do is, you're right, they will take it. They will take a fee, but if you spend it in Walmart, they didn't charge you a fee.
Oh,
so
okay. That's good.
Yeah. So I don't know if Publix is the same way.
They're
Most
not.
people.
They're not. Yeah.
But so I said all that to say, if those machines will still take pennies, then I would go cash them out as soon as you could, because that's not going to be around for long.
Do you think in 500 years they'll be worth anything?
Well, let me tell you, they are doing a special stamp. I think it's on the last 5 pennies that are going to be printed. So there's only going to be 5, and it's a special stamp on it. And they said already those things could be worth $1 million in value.
What's that stamp look like? Do you know?
No, I mean, when I say stamp, they're going to have some type of special mark on it.
I think it's coming out of Philly too. I think it's the Philly, and it obviously will have to
Yeah,
have
I'm
a P on
not
it.
sure. Yeah, but it's already like collectors are like, doing everything.
Oh
they
yeah, I
can.
remember. I guess I used to have a coin collection, and I remember finding my first steel penny, which a lot of people don't know, from 1943 when they were trying to save copper. They had steel pennies. They're steel.
Yeah.
They're super cool. They sound weird. I still have one. I always remember seeing, the wheat thing on the wheat pennies. I always, you knew you had something special when you got a wheat
Yeah.
penny, and
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
still
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
cool looking.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of sad that that's actually kind of going away. But I certainly
Yeah.
understand where we're going here. Info TonyCurryRadio.net. Info TonyCurryRadio.net. Ted in Northport says, "I know you're Trump lovers." I know you're Trump lovers, and Trump keeps saying that he wants all the power to go to the states. Then why is he banning states to not reform their AI situation? As a matter of fact, I just saw this on the news this morning. Evidently, he is telling states that he will take away some of their funding if they try to put any type of reformation or any type of stance on their AI. Obviously, states they're realizing they have something here that could be a major problem. I saw a story on 60 Minutes this past weekend about a 13-year-old daughter who committed suicide after she had a long relationship with Caricature AI, which is one of these AI companies, and you can basically put any face, any name, any voice. She was actually doing it with a Travis Kelce AI. It sounded like Travis Kelce. It looked like Travis Kelce. And within 5 voices, if you will, going back and forth, it was telling her to take her clothes off and do all these horrible things. I was like, good God Almighty, it scared the hell out of me. The father of this girl was like, yeah, my daughter come up from school. She's straight A student. She's part of Girl Scouts, and she says she's going up to her room, do her homework. I'd think nothing of it, and come to find out she was having a conversation with this robot. And they're so damn real. It scares me. I'll be honest with you, as a parent, it scares the hell out of me. It really does, because we got adults like you and I who are having relationships with computers. They know they're computers. They know they're not real, but they say all the things you want to hear, which is really sad. Anyway, that's not really what I wanted to get to. What's your idea on AI? You and I have done several shows on AI. What's your thoughts on where it's going? And the United States, again, we're a 2-year-old baby who can't seem to get out of her own damn way. We don't know how to deal with freedom. We have all these wonderful things, and then every other country out there they're like light years ahead of us on this stuff. And they're like, yeah, this is what you need to do, but yet we seem to have to learn on our own. But what are your thoughts on whether, first of all, let's take it from the state standpoint, should states have more power?
Well, it depends on what the issue is. I generally am somebody who believes in states' rights. I generally believe that regardless of what the issue is, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know what Trump's argument is or what the concern is. I don't know if it's commerce related, that they're going to tax it, but who knows what his stance is. And just in terms of being a Trump lover, I love some of the policies. I like securing our nation. I like some of those things, and there are other things about Trump that I'm not a fan of. But anyway, I try to take it issue by issue. But I'm generally a fan of states' rights, and the reason is because I'm a market guy, and I think competition, regardless of what subject you're talking about, and I'm chase a rabbit here just for a second. So the healthcare, the Obamacare was the Affordable Care Act, and all these subsidies were built in, and there's no competition. In Alabama, we know primarily you have Blue Cross Blue Shield. There's a little bit of Humana, Health United, but companies are not allowed to compete across. And I think one of the bills that's being written now is trying to encourage that, because anytime you have a monopoly, you're in essence, we have to pay. Blue Cross Blue Shield comes back with, if they say, well, we're going up 10%, and they're not competing in the marketplace. So what I think, bringing that down to a states' rights issue, I think, like for education, I think there ought to be 50 different experiments going on. Each state does it their way, and then you look and say, which one is producing the best results, that's the most effective, and what you want, and then you adopt and you learn and you grow and you improve, and I just think that competition in every aspect of life, it generally is healthy. There are exceptions, won't go into all that. So I don't know what Trump's particular purpose is or issue is, and I don't know what the threat is. But I will tell you that every state is going to legislate AI,
Hmm.
are going to try to. And I think what Trump is wanting to do is make sure that it's not overregulated, that it keeps down business growth, and you bog it down to where it really puts it. It doesn't allow America as a whole to grow to and utilize AI to its full capacity. And I've said this many, many times. No matter what you do, AI in and of itself, just like the internet, just like anything else, is neutral. It's just a tool.
Yep.
It's a person when it gets in their hands depends on what they do with it. So the same internet that increases productivity, the same AI that's increasing productivity, that's helping companies grow, that's producing wealth, all those are all great things. I mean, I use AI every single day. I love it. Now, is it possible that nefarious people, like you said, want to create a bot and pretend to be in a relationship and somebody ends up killing themselves from it? Uh, yeah, I mean, there's just going to be those people out there that have those weapons, but
You,
and
you do believe there should be some legislation that if you're going to, and the two guys that did this were from Google. They created this 5 years ago. Google let them go because they weren't allowing them to go to the limits of what they thought AI could be. And now we're learning that. And Google's like, we're not doing this because we don't want to be responsible for it. And then they end up hiring them back once they decided to say, okay, listen, because they know how far it can go. It can go as far as you want
well,
it to go.
there's
Um,
some things. There are already some limits on AI. You can't produce ways to hurt other people. I mean, you'll put some commands in AI and it'll say cannot produce the results you're looking
yeah.
for. So there are some limits, like, teach me step by step how to build a bomb, walk me through there's all sorts of things. Uh, but my point is generally, there's so many factors, like, okay, so you've got some nefarious guy who's creates a bot. Well, then you've got this young girl who's created a whole image, who's not even living in reality. My guess is that it does exploit people who already have mental health issues, who are
Yes.
already don't have good social etiquette, and it brings that out and it takes advantage of. So again, I'm not against all regulation. I think any industry you use, you could talk about college football right now. Do I think NIL needs to be regulated? Yes,
Mhm.
I do. But you don't want to regulate it to the point that you suppress it. And typically I'm more on the Republican side of less regulation, which gives you more freedom, versus overregulation, which is costly and uh, uh,
I,
non-market,
And
non-market
again,
express.
we're going through a time of our lives where, man, you think about what our lives, what our generation's going through with cell phones and internet and AI. I mean, we're going through some major stuff right now, man. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
this is life changing stuff. This isn't like the pet rock. When we're talking about this is stuff that's going to form us and make us who we are 50, 60, 70 years from here. It's
Well,
kind of
one
scary
of the
stuff.
things I've mentioned this before, and I don't know, don't hold me to the exact figures, but there was a thing like, how long did it take society as a whole to adopt to the telephone? How
Hmm.
long did it take to adopt to electricity? How long did it take to adopt to indoor plumbing? All those kind of things. AI, even the internet, where it becomes and when I say adopt or adapt to it, where over 50% of the population is using it.
Hmm.
So you went and like the internet was like 16 years or something, 15 or 16 years. Excuse me. But the AI has been less than 2 years, where over 50% are using it in some degree. And so the transformation of society with information, the internet, all that kind of stuff, it's rapid. So changes are becoming, everybody knows about it, can see it right in front of them, can adapt it, can play with it, can utilize it. So things are going to be coming much
and
faster
it's free
than
too. I
in
mean,
the
a lot of
past.
people,
Yeah.
it's a free thing, and like most things, just like even like Zoom, it's not free anymore. I mean, eventually,
Yeah.
it's they're gonna pay for it because they possibly can. Since we're talking about it, Australia just put a ban on anyone under the age of 16 getting on social media. What's your thoughts on that?
Um, I think that's probably a wise decision. Um, I think when you talk about regulation, Alabama and many other states have outlawed phones in school. I think that is a wise decision. So again, we've learned that kids can't think and can't talk. I just asked somebody the other day, it was a teacher, and I said, "What's the effect been on the phone?" And it was like the lunchrooms are just as noisy as they were back when you and I were growing up
Yeah,
because everybody's head's not down looking at their phone.
good.
So it'll prevent a lot of things like cyberbullying, a lot of those kind of things. And so I do think countries make, overall decisions, but I also, it says in our Constitution and that I think it's the 10th Amendment about states' rights. So the struggle is always, is this a federal issue where the federal government comes in? So whatever the email, the guy who sent the email in, whatever's AI, as a country, is this something that needs to be done? This calls in national security or national interest? Or should we give it to the states to say, you put whatever regulation on social media you want to? And again, I usually defer to the states' rights issues,
Mhm.
but it can lead you to some bad places sometimes.
I wish we were smart enough to just do the right thing. So, I mean, the reason we have rules and regulations is because someone pushes the envelope, period. I mean, whether it's NIL, transfer portal, AI, whatever, we're always going to have people that we have extremes in everything we do. And like AI to me is just an amazing tool. It's such a wonderful thing. And
Yeah.
I could certainly see where a human, I could certainly see where a 13 or 14-year-old actually believes after a while that they're having a conversation with a real thing. I really believe
Yeah.
that. I mean, and these aren't kids that are mentally deficient or anything. They're normal kids. We have adults out there that they can't wait to get in their car at home or whatever on the way home to have a conversation with their chatbot. Period. I mean, it's true, and these are normal human
Well,
beings. So,
and I
and I'm
get it,
not.
but the problem is though in our country, it's rooted in the idea of freedom.
Yeah,
And so the idea is when you regulate, it's not even whether the regulation is a good idea or not. Set that aside. I think the vast majority of people, of parents, let's say, would say, yes, I think social media. But you cannot violate the Constitution. And so
yeah,
one of
I
the
know.
things is this freedom. So judges then have to, and it's going to ultimately go to the Supreme Court and those kind of things. What is it that we can regulate in life, and what is it that we can't? Because the Constitution ensures our freedom.
Yeah.
And so
And along with that comes
that's the
a huge,
struggle.
yeah, a huge. Along with that comes a huge responsibility, and huge obedience, and we're not very good at
That's
that
right.
because we're human, and that's the
That's-
way it is. And
yeah.
as a parent, I love it
Yeah.
because I have a 13-year-old daughter, and I can see it, and it scares the hell out of me. I mean, I'm just be honest with you, it scares the
Yeah.
bejeebers out of me. I mean, even my oldest son, who's 21, he's like, Dad, this AI stuff is crazy. I mean, and he's a smart
Yeah.
kid. He's getting A's at Clemson. He's going to be something really special. And he's like, man, in the wrong hands, I can really see where this can really change a person's life. Even
Yeah.
from and he has some anxiety and depression issues because I could see
Yeah.
where someone can lock themselves up for days and never leave based on this stuff. So
Well,
that's,
usually
that's
like
kind of
when
scary
this
stuff.
comes out and we start playing it out, and then we start seeing some dangers,
Hmm.
and then there will be uh, legislation, and it's all yes, AI is very powerful tool, but we always go through this. Forget if it's something new and it's useful. It doesn't matter if it's an industry thing, robotics. Doesn't matter. Eventually, as it's played out, we start seeing the downsides, or people start abusing it, and then it comes up as a public interest issue, and then we try to decide how to regulate it. Does it go nationally? Does it go statewide? Does it just go local? Or is it, I think some would argue that, hey, we're parents. Parents can regulate their own families, but
They
again,
should. Hey, do you remember when we sat in front of the TV? There were 3 stations, and Dad said you had an hour. Then you're going outside, and it worked. Now I know it's a different time. And we had this.
You got a 13.
Yeah, we had this conversation.
13-year-old.
We had this conversation.
You want your daughter to be the only one that doesn't have social media access? While all her friends do. That's
I know. We were on Fox 6 yesterday, and Dr. Josh, who's quite liberal the other way, was like, what about the paraplegic? What about the 15-year-old kid who can't walk and can't? And he's like, okay, you're talking about an extreme. You're talking about one situation. We're not talking about hundreds of thousands of paraplegics and kids in wheelchairs. Yeah. I certainly understand. Yeah, it's not nothing's gonna be perfect for everyone. But and maybe in a situation where you have something like that, maybe there's a special, I don't know, rule or something. If you're 13-year-old and you can't leave your house, you can get on social media. I don't know. It just seems kind of crazy. I will say this, and I'm going to bring this up because I don't think we could bring this up on our new format. But I have a friend of mine who is in his 20s. He's learning on the go, and he likes looking at porn.
Mm-hmm.
And I've known this guy now for about 3 or 4 years. It's not to say sometimes I'll look over and he'll be on his phone. I know he's looking at pictures, and I'm like, whatever. And he's like, Pornhub, and I was like, yeah, I'm aware of what Pornhub is. He goes, we can't get Pornhub in Alabama anymore.
Yeah.
And I said, really? And I said, why? And he goes, well, you go to the site and it says, because of legal blah, 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 blah. And there's some sexy woman on there talking about it. It's a
law that you can't do it.
Yeah.
You have to verify your age.
Well, and you either have to join the group, which 99% of the people don't want to do because they know they're going to be getting stuff all day, every day through their phone. Hey, I'm a mile down the street. Come meet me, blah, 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 blah. Anyone that's ever if you've ever gotten on your browser and just put the word in nude in there, within a half a second, you're going to get something on your phone, popping up your phone. I get that. But you know what he said? He said, I don't look at porn anymore. And I said, really? And he goes, yeah. And he goes, I would have thought, he goes, every morning I get up and I it's just something that's part of I go through my Twitter account. I look at some pictures. I do this, that, and the other. And he goes, and because now that's not accessible to me anymore, I don't even want to go because I'm afraid, I don't want to go in some rat hole and have some viral thing hit my phone because I know how nasty it is and how widespread. And I said, well, there you go. And you could tell he was kind of proud of himself. And I said, well, good for you. He goes, He goes, I used to spend a half an hour, 45 minutes every day, Googling girls' names or whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I said, well, there you have it. Maybe sometimes regulations help.
Think about in our country, though. We tried that. When you talk about regulating morality, and I don't want to make this come across like I'm pro porn, but we tried prohibition back in the days, and that lasted a very short time, and then they repealed it, and so that's the part that we wrestle with is. I could be so opposed to pornography. I could be opposed to gambling. I can be morally opposed to a lot of different things. But in America, do I have the right to impose my value system on another person? And I think collectively as a society, sometimes we have a shared value and you can institute a law, and that can be like sometimes you'd have dry counties. I don't know how many dry counties still exist. My county growing up.
Lynchburg, Tennessee, where Jack Daniels is made, still dry.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. So it all matters what the issue is, what the context is. But I'm telling you, eventually, when you start butting up into people's freedoms and trying to determine what they can and cannot do,
there's
always going to be this tension.
He's like, I can't believe I got a cell phone. I can do whatever the hell I want. I can't believe I can't look at my pictures. And I'm like, well, you can on that site. I'm sure you could find something else. All you got to do is Google. He's, well, I'm not going there because it's going to put me in the dark web, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, maybe this is God's wink at you going, listen, knock it off. Maybe you can spend that 45 minutes, going outside and swinging your daughter on the swing set or something. Well, this next question, this is from Marcy in Vestavia. It's about our health insurance, and I love the fact that we can go all different directions on this business show. This is great. She said, "I'm currently paying $200 a month for my health insurance through the Obamacare. I'm getting a subsidy of about $700 a month." She said, "And I just went and pulled up my stuff, and my health insurance is going to cost $950 a month starting January 1st." That's going to happen one way or another because they're not going to change anything. They just did the vote yesterday. They both said no. Even if they end up getting this thing extended, it probably won't be till February before we're going to see anything. She's like, "I can't afford $950 a month. What am I supposed to do?" And I think a lot of people are in that same boat. And that's the question that we keep hearing about. 38 million people are going to lose their stuff, or 38 million people are going to have their prices go up triple and blah, blah, blah. Okay, they are. So what are we supposed to do? So for that person and there's we're talking 9% of Americans out there that are in the same boat. Are we supposed to go without insurance? Should we bite our lip and go and hope like hell that the extension goes through? What would you do?
Okay, so I can't necessarily advise what to do, but let me just provide a little context and understanding on both sides of the issue. The people who put Obamacare together, it was clearly structured. If you go back and look at it and analyze it, it was structured to have these huge uh, government copays, or not copays, but subsidies, and there was nothing to keep. So they knew over time that the subsidies were going to get larger and larger and larger, and that's taxpayer money.
Yep.
To pay it. Okay, so and that was going to the insurance companies, and it just got bigger, bigger, bigger. So there's no incentive to stop those subsidies. The reason that they did it, I believe, I think it's pretty clear, is the reason they made those temporary and not permanent, which the Democrats, when they were in office, could have made those subsidies permanent, but they didn't. Temporary. That's why they ran out are going to run out the end of this month, is because they wanted, when it got so high like this, it would be their leverage to create a single payer system, government system, which is what the Democrats want. And look, I've talked with many people on the left and many people on the right about this. You can look at situations like Canada where you say everybody's got health care, and you go, okay, great. That sounds great, except when you need an X-ray or an MRI, because everybody has access to it. So the guy on the street who's not working, who doesn't care about life, he's just a ne'er-do-well, let's say. He's not doing anything in society. Everybody's getting it now. And you might say, well, that's a universal right. We all should take care of everybody in our country. Go, okay. Well, that means that now when I need an MRI, I've got to wait 4 or 5, 6 months for an MRI, just for the MRI. And then that may lead to surgery, which is another 6. So people with a lot of money in Canada, they just skip that. They come here. And it's a less efficient. So yes, is everybody covered? Yes, but they raise taxes, so everybody's going to pay more, and so it's not a panacea. I'm not arguing for or against it. I was in military health care, which was a form of that, and it was limited how many doctors. So sometimes, like even with the VA now, you call up and you want to get an appointment, and there's not an appointment for 2 or 3 months to see a doctor. So now, in terms of this person who just emailed, more sympathetic I could not be towards your situation. It hurts my heart for you to know that, you have this subsidy and it's going to go away. And you're right, you can't pay it. Now, I think what the Republicans are trying to do, at least as I heard it listed out by John Thune and some others, is that they are trying to bring market forces, if they can, in here. And the idea was, and this was voted down because they have to have 60 to pass anything in the Senate. The idea is to give everybody a health savings account where you can get money, and then you shop the most competitive plans for what you want. So as a younger person, maybe you just need a catastrophic policy. but maybe if you're somebody with health issues, you're going to need more care, more doctor's visits, whatever. But you got four companies out there who can provide that care, and now there's competition built in because they're trying to get your dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So that those free markets competition always drives down cost. I could just give you quick example. The first, my dad is an insurance agent, bought his first calculator back in the early 70s for $270. And now, you get them on your phones, but you can buy them at the store for $1.
Mm-hmm.
Competition when things, anyway. So you bring in that and you reduce some of those barriers. And the idea is that people will have the ability to then shop and get their health care. And then when they go to one healthcare system, another thing that market forces do, when you go to one healthcare system because they're the fastest or the best or they get most bang for the buck, then the other ones are going to be forced to change to compete.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Competition makes everything better. Now, unfortunately, that doesn't solve anything for this person right now. And I totally get what's going on. There are considerable amount of people who are going to lose this. Now, I will know that there were 5 Republicans who voted with Democrats yesterday across political boundaries to vote for the Democrats plan. What they wanted to do was extend the subsidies 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
And then once they did it for 1 year is to go back and then rebuild the plan, because right now the plan is just endless subsidies, more and more tax, more and more debt, without any real cure. The whole system was built on, the promises of, oh yeah, each family is going to save $2,500 a month and all that kind of stuff. And if you want your doctor, you can keep your doctor. If you like your plan, you keep your plan, all that. And all of that was let's just say not true, or turns out it didn't work out like it was promoted. Healthcare is incredibly expensive. It is out of control. I think the more government gets involved, and last thing I'll say about this universal healthcare, one of the things they're experiencing right now in Europe is this call for more euthanasia. I believe it's the 2 places it's legal is Norway and the Netherlands. But one of the things, so assisted suicide. And what we were talking about is ultimately if the government's in control and I'm 80 years old and all of a sudden I have something that's like, surely it's going to be very expensive and I only have a couple of years left anyway. And the government can decide, we're not going to cover that for an 80-year-old. We'll cover it for a 50-year-old. We're not. So they call them death panels.
Yep.
So they authorize people to do assisted suicide. Well, now you got this 20-something-year-old who has severe mental health issues, and they're allowing people in their 20s to kill themselves with assisted suicide. So it's gotten very messy very quickly with that. So there's all of these moral issues. There's ethical issues. There's tax issues. Is it fair? I mean, the vast majority of people get it through the workforce. I get it. There's some people who can't get it through the workforce or can't get it through their own companies. But the question is it the responsibility of other people who are paying their taxes to pay the health insurance of other people?
Yeah.
And I know that sounds, it's just one of the questions. So it's a huge complex problem.
It's weird from and I'll speak because I'm self-employed and I never had to deal with this, and I'm dealing with it the same thing. My price is going to go up 5-fold, and so I'm at this point where I'm like, okay, I went 3 years without health insurance when I first got divorced because it was too expensive, and I was paying for my wife who had all kinds of issues. And so I'm thinking to myself, okay, do I just want to go ahead and bite my lip and go for, as long as I can and hope that nothing catastrophic happens?
Yeah.
Or do I want to hold on to it and it'd be
or
great.
get a catastrophic coverage.
Yeah, just get something. Yeah, but
it's not gonna cover a routine doctor visits.
Exactly. But I mean, it's still going to be expensive, because if I get the flu or I need to go to a doctor or go to the whatever, it's still going to be expensive. So yeah, that's one of the situations, and it's funny because, like, say for example, and I'll use my ex as an example. My ex could go get a job, and she gets health insurance, right? And I even thought of driving a bus. Bus drivers get health insurance.
Yep. And I know a lot of people that drive a school bus.
Great
to get health insurance. That's
great
right.
health insurance. And their families get health insurance. And
That's
so I'm
right.
thinking to myself, I could get health insurance for my entire damn family if I go drive a bus for 20 hours a week.
Yep.
And that comes out to $30,000-$40,000 a year. I mean, it does. I mean, it's almost like, so yeah, I guess it's really screwy how it works. And I always think to myself, it's weird because, I could take this 15-hour job and go get health insurance for my entire family, which could amount to $50,000, or I could sit there and try to figure out how to make it on my own, and it's costing me a nut, and I may not even use it. And now, I'm turning 60 this coming year. So yeah, my heart bleeds for these people. And
I don't want to be, I'm not I'm trying to deal with facts, but also I know it's real people who potentially are going to suffer and have anxiety about, how am I going to pay for health care?
And these aren't pre-existing conditions. These aren't bottom dwellers. I mean, we're not talking about poor people. I mean, we're talking about normal mid-level people who are making $60,000-$70,000 a year and just trying to make a paycheck to paycheck. And can't figure it out. So it's quite the bummer. So, all right, we got a boogie, man. We go a little long. Great stuff. info@TonyCurryRadio.net. info@TonyCurryRadio.net. Keep those emails coming. We'll go around it, and don't forget to join us on our brand new show. We're going to start promoting that right now, because it'll be here before you know it. 101.1. The Truth is called Mission Minded. It's going to be the same show, so you'll find it. And we are going to try to work it out, because of the system they use. We will not have cameras, so we want to make sure that people can see our lovely faces when we do our shows. So we'll make sure that's part of that deal as well. So thank you so much, my man. BBB, Bite by Bites, coming up here next. The show specific to the Heart of Alabama Food Bank in Feeding America. We'll get to that next right here on Tony Curry Radio. Have yourself a wonderful weekend, my friend. I appreciate you.
You as well, bud.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Curry Radio.